Okay, we're going to talk about the second guideline of weapon disarming. Number 2, understanding how to use the weapon, understanding the weapon itself as a mechanism, and how to utilize it. There are many weapons out there. Rifles, as you can see, shotguns, handguns, revolvers, pistols. Every single one of them is an individual and a different mechanism. In order to do a proper weapon disarm, we got to understand the mechanism of the gun, identify the mechanism of the gun, and according to that, we got to respond. If I'm going to respond to a shotgun the same way I'm going to respond to a pistol, I might be in a lot of trouble. Different mechanism, different reaction for me. Field of fire to every single one of them. That's the main goal I want to achieve, is stepping out the field of fire. But in order to do that, to go to the second stage, I must understand the mechanism of it. Because it's a mechanism, I can create a malfunction. A mechanism got to have some kind of a system inside in order to keep it flowing every time over and over again. Knowing and understanding that mechanism, I can control the way I'm going to jam it and create a malfunction. Unlike edge weapons that they never jam, since they're one big chunk of cutting metal that never runs out of ammunition. In guns, and any weaponry in general, all of that is canceled if I know to recognize and to understand the proper mechanism, identify it, and according to that to react. Okay, we're going to talk about also not just the mechanism itself. I also got to understand and identify some kind of accessories that are on the weapon. One of the most common accessories is the sling. Sling is used to carry the rifle, as you can see here, connected all the way from the bottom, from the stock, up to the barrel. I'm going to utilize the sling in order to perform a takedown technique. And the finish. Okay, we're still in a mechanism of the gun, identifying a mechanism of the gun. As you can see, Mark here is pointing a pistol, a semi-automatic pistol at me. Now, the thing about pistols is it's got an independent slide. The hammer that drops on the firing pin is actually what's going to cause the fire. Everything is going to start by Mark pressing on the trigger. Now, what I'm going to talk about right now is a suicide drill, as we call it. When everything else fails, you know the guy is serious, you know that's your only way out. Pretty much the Russian style of it is by pushing forward and attaching the wrist. Now, if Mark here is going to press the trigger, you see the hammer is still cocked back, but it doesn't go off. Why? Because the mechanism of the gun. The slide just jam the springs that are in charge of dropping the hammer on the firing pin. Okay? This is a very risky situation, a very risky way to perform that technique. It's a Russian system. Back in Israel, that it's not really popular. We don't like it just because of the simple fact that I don't want a full loaded gun pointing really close and tight into my body. Therefore, we choose another option, especially if I got a little bit of a distance and I see the guy's intention are serious. What I'm going to do pretty much from here, I'm going to grab the wrist to fix his hand in place, and at the same time jam and slide forward the slide. As I do that, I might get shot in my hand, but that's the sacrifice I'm going to take. And quickly as I can, I'm going to slide my hand onto the chamber, and at the same time holding and fixing his wrist in place. Now you can see as Mark is going to press the trigger, nothing is going to happen. And from there on, we're going to carry the techniques. I'm going to demonstrate in one fluent motion.
Hasta la vista, baby.
Okay, let's go through the movement and analyze pretty much what I'm going to do. Again, this is an unrecommended suicide technique that with everything else fails, this is most likely what I'm going to perform. As the guy points the gun from a distance, I want to step out, field of fire, jam by sticking my hand into the barrel. As I do that, I fix his wrist in place, sliding down the slide. All the way, he presses the trigger. You can see the hammer is not going to go off because of the slide being pulled backwards. Away field of fire, ballistic arch towards him. Now in any given moment, I decide to let the slide go. If he doesn't pull the trigger, guess what? I'm going to help him out with that, but this time it goes straight into his body.